Hello everyone, my name is Alden Sin, and today in this video I am going to teach you folks a simple science lesson which we are going to talk about our ecosystem, and that includes the food chain and food web. Let's get into it. So what is exactly an ecosystem? So it basically means that every living plant and animals must have energy to survive. For example, plants rely on soil, water, and sun to survive, and then animals rely on plants as well as other animals for energy. And in an ecosystem, plants and animals all rely on each other to live. And sometimes scientists describe this dependence using the term food chain or a food web. So for those who might be wondering, food chain, what is that? So a food chain is a chain that describes how different organisms eat each other, starting out with a plant and ending it with an animal. For example, you could write the food chain for a lion like this. The lion eats the zebra, and which the zebra eats the grass. Let me give you another example. So from the picture, we can see that there's grass, grasshopper, frog, snake, and an eagle. So the whole food chain process would be like this. First off, the grasshopper eats the grass, and then the frog eats the grasshopper. After that, the snake eats the frog, and finally, the eagle eats the snake. It's that easy. So, of course, there are names to help describe each link of the food chain, and it depends mostly on what the organisms eat and how it contributes to the energy of the ecosystem. And in the chain, we have three different names to describe each link of the food chain, which are producers, consumers, and decomposers. Okay, so first off, we have producers. Plants are producers. Why? Because they produce energy for the whole ecosystem. They do this because they absorb energy from the sun through photosynthesis. And next, we have consumers. Of course, we all know that animals are consumers. And this is because they don't produce any energy. And for consumers, we have four different categories to compartmentalize them. And the first one is primary consumers, or as known as herbivores. They are when an animal eats another plant. Second, we have the secondary consumers, or as known as carnivores. It happens when an animal eats another animal. The third one, we have the tertiary consumer, in which happens between a carnivore eats another carnivore. And lastly, we have the omnivores, in which it happens when an animal eats both the plant and animals. Last but not least, we have the decomposers. And decomposers eat anything that decays. That includes dead plants or animals. And they are very, very important to the food chain because they help put nutrients back into the soil for plants to eat. Examples for decomposers such as worms, bacteria, and fungi. Okay, here's another example for the names of the food chain. From the picture, we have grass, deer, and lion. So automatically, grass is a producer, and then the deer is the primary consumer because deer eats grass. Last but not least, a lion. Lion is a secondary consumer because lion eats meat. It eats another animal. So it automatically makes the lion the secondary consumer in the food chain. So of course, each link is very, very important, as I mentioned earlier, because links higher up in the food chain rely on the lower links. For example, even though lions don't eat grass, they wouldn't last long if there wasn't any grass because the zebra wouldn't have anything to eat. For this context, because zebras eat grass or plants, if grass, if we don't have any grass or plants for zebras to eat, then they'll die and eventually go extinct. If zebra dies and go extinct, then lion wouldn't have anything to eat because lion only eats meat but not the plant. Okay, let's talk about food web. And in any ecosystem, there are many food chains. And when you draw all the chains together, you will end up with a food web. And there are 5 different trophic levels in the food web, which are the level 1, producers. Level 2 is primary consumers. Level 3 is the secondary consumers or carnivores. The level 4, we have tertiary consumers or carnivores. And last but not least, we have the apex predator, because nothing eats this animal and it automatically makes them at the top of the food chain. It's activity time. So students, please take out your exercise book and then jot down your answers in them. From the picture, we have 3 different food chain. And I want you folks to write this food chain in the correct order. And then write the name of the producer, the predator, and prey in each of the food chain. Take a closer look. And then for the second activity, we have food web. And in the food web above, there are 8 food chains that include krill. And in your exercise book, please identify all of the organisms in the order which they occur in 4 of these 8 food chains. Good luck! And unfortunately, we have come to the end of our class. I hope you guys enjoyed the lessons as much as I do. Science is really fun, and I hope you guys learned something today. Till then, bye-bye.